What's going on, guys? Today we're going to be talking about the command pattern. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. So we're going to start it off with the definition of how the Gang of 4 defines it. So the Gang of 4 defines it as encapsulate a request as an object, thereby letting you parameterize with different requests, queue or log requests, and support undoable operations. So what they mean about this, I'm gonna give you a quick example, real life example. Like IKEA, everybody I think knows about IKEA, and if you know about IKEA, you know that every box, no matter what box it is, has the instructions inside that box and has all the material you need to build that item that you bought. Let's say a chair. You want a chair, you buy from IKEA, they give you a box with the instructions and the material inside of it, right? Well, it just encapsulated everything inside that one box, meaning they have the instructions and all the materials that you need. And that's what they mean about the command pattern. And like every video, guys, it's actually better if I show you rather than tell you. So we're gonna look at this code right now that I wrote. I'm gonna actually make this bigger. I hope that's bigger for you guys. Let me know that down in the comment section if that's good. So let's run this code that I wrote. I actually have to get inside. I don't know why I don't do it beforehand. And this is called the command. All right, so I'm gonna do no dot. All right, so right now we have a little interface right now, and it's waiting for me to type something. So it tells you right here exactly what you could do. You could create a file name and the text inside of it, and then exit. So we're gonna do exit first, and it's gonna just say to do, and we need to exit. Obviously, we haven't implemented that command yet. We are going to do it, and we want to create a file name. We should do create, and then the file name. I don't know, hello.txt, and then the text that we want in there. So hi world, something like that, and then it's gonna say to do create a file called hello.txt, and then the file contents hi world. I'm gonna get out of this right here, and you don't need to know what's going on in this code right now, but I am gonna explain it right now. Right now we're just creating an interface, you know, the input and output, and right here we're just parsing out what they've done. First, we're parsing out the command, and if it's a file name, then we're gonna just get the remaining whatever it's next. We're gonna just get the file name and all that stuff, and then we just create a switch statement saying that, hey, if it's exit, we're gonna just exit. If it's create, we're gonna create a file. So the first thing we're going to do, so you could understand what the command is or how to actually implement the command design pattern, is we're going to incorporate or include two more files up here. So var, or I'm just gonna require, and we're gonna have a conductor. So this conductor is responsible for actually telling which, or seeing which command is going to be executed. Okay, so conductor. Okay. And the next thing we're gonna create is let me do require. Oh god. And the next thing we're gonna incorporate is actually I'm gonna have to destructurize this destructure. So commands, we're gonna get it from the commands file. We're actually going to grab two things from this commands file. Okay, we're gonna grab, since right now we're doing two commands, which is the exit and create. I'm simply going to name them the exit command. So exit command and create command, just like that. And we're gonna see how we're gonna use them down here below. So for the exit, we're literally going to call conductor dot run new exit command. And for create, we're gonna call the conductor and tell it to run conductor dot run a new create command. And this is how the front end, or at least the client file, should look like. So we're having conductor, which is basically telling which command to actually run. Let's actually incorporate this. So we're gonna have a new file called the conductor.js, and we're gonna have another one called commands.js. So in our command, obviously we do have two commands. So we're gonna create classes for both of these commands. So right now we have a class for the exit command, and we have a class for the create command, right? And remember to export it. So module.exports is going to equal, and we're going to destructurize this. So destructure exit command and create command. Okay. So for the first one, we're not going to need a constructor because we're literally just going to exit out of the application. So we're going to get the name, get name. And you'll see in a bit why we're having a method for get name. And we're going to return. And since it's exiting, we're going to just say exit ... by. And that is it. And we also have another one called execute. I think I'm gonna spell that. I need an E right here. Execute. This is another method. Don't worry, guys. We are gonna explain what's going on right now. And we're gonna execute the process.exit 0. This is gonna exit our application. Just letting you know, guys, every command is going to have an execute method. This is how we're gonna form our commands. Every command literally needs to be executed, right? And they need to know what to execute. So every command is going to need an execute, and the get name is not really necessary, but it's good practice because we're going to return like the name of the actually command sent by it, or something that you might need to do later on. But before we create the create command, we are going to create something in the conductor that executes this command to see if we're actually going in the right pace or in the right track. So in here, we're going to create a class in the conductor.js. We're going to create a class called conductor, capital C. And we're going to module.exports. Ooh, bad. Module.exports equals. We're going to create a Node.js singleton for this, or a single instance of this. So new conductor. And you see this, guys, we are using our previous design pattern. We're using a singleton for this one. All right. And this singleton right here ensures that we're only running one instance of this conductor class. That's the only reason why we want it. So anyways, this conductor only has one method, guys. In the index, we are calling conductor.run. Okay. So the conductor does have the command inside of it, command. Because over here, we do pass it in index.js. We do pass it in an actual command. So we're passing in the command, and we're going to just log out executing command. And this is why I said this might be the reason why you just want to get name, because we're going to put command. I mean, there's other reasons you might want to get the name. And I forgot to put my ticks in here, so I'm just all in the beginning. Boop, my ticks. All right, and we're gonna run our command, meaning we're gonna execute the command. So command dot execute. So let's just test this out. So let's do node dot. Oops, and we get a hold on, did I spell name over here right? Okay, hold on. I know what I did wrong. It's not a constructor that we're doing. It's actually the run command. We don't need a constructor for this command. I mean for the class. We need the run command. This is what we're running over here. And I put it in the constructor. My bad, guys. It's the run method, and we're put it in command. So we try this one more time. We get it right there. And we're going to just type in exit. And we get conductor is not defined. Let me see what's going on. I found it, guys. I had it like this previously, and I was trying to debug what was going on. I had it like this, but it's actually just conductor like the way we had it. Anyways, let me CLS and let's do it one more time so that way you can see it's working. So we exit, we get executing command exit by. Simple enough. So let's go back into our commands and start messing around with the create command. So we are gonna need to require 2 modules. So we're gonna create a so var structure write file, and we're gonna equal require. We're going to require the fs module, the built-in fs module from node. And we're going to create a var path, and we're going to require the path module. And this is going to let us write a file, obviously, and set a path to what file, where we want to actually store that file. So, down here. So like I said, in the previous videos, I think this is not a tutorial on how to actually build a write system or a file system. It doesn't. So I'm not going to be teaching you what I'm going to be doing. I am going to like talk about it, but not go into depth about it. So just keep that in mind, guys. That this is not a what modules to use to write a file or like how to do this kind of things. So, anyways, in the constructor, we're going to have a file name. Oh yes, and we're gonna have text. Okay, so in here we're gonna have this dot file name is going to equal file name, and this dot body is going to equal text, and then we're gonna need a full path. Is going to equal path dot join underscore into our dir, get our current directory, dir name, and then file name. So down below, we are going to create a get name method and also an execute. Like I said, we're always going to have an execute method for these kind of things. So the get name is going to be return. We're going to return create, and then we're going to set this dot file name, just like that. And then we're going to also get a execute method. And in here, this is where we're actually going to write a file. This dot full path. The write file takes the path where we actually want to save this file at, and the body content of this file. This dot body, and it takes a callback function. But right now, I'm gonna do a dummy callback function. And this is how I do my dummy callback functions. Don't worry about it. It's a callback function on what happens when it's actually completed or when we actually write this file. I'm not really worried about that right now. We are going to be modifying that later on, but not right now. At this point, not right now. So let's actually try to test this out right now. So if we actually create a new file, create hello.txt, and then we want hi world in there. Oh, we get a path argument. Let me see what's going on. Must be type string, received undefined. So just bear with me a second, guys. So in the index, I did forget to actually put in the stuff we're actually sending into this command. So we need the file name inside of the create command and the text. And one thing, I don't know if you know this, guys, but one thing that to know if you actually do need a constructor or not, the reasons why I'm not too sure, but if you have the you see how we have this class name right now, name create command. We have a class create command, and we're actually passing in arguments into this class create command. If you're passing in arguments like this into the create command, you are going to need a constructor. That's why we have constructor right here. But if you don't pass in arguments, just like we did to exit command, we don't need any arguments. You don't need a constructor. That's just a quick tip, I guess. But yeah, if we actually try this now, node dot, and we're gonna create a file name called hello.txt, and then hi world. You do that, you go back in here, and you can see that we have a hello.text and hi world right now. So, I mean, we're basically done with the command, but there's so much more that we could do with the command design pattern. And I'm going to show you more ways to actually do it a little, I guess, just more into depth about this command. So back into the command, or the conductor actually, going back into the conductor class. Now, since the conductor is the one that's actually taking the commands and then distributing them, saying that which one's getting executed and which one is not, the conductor can actually take the history of it, like which history has been ran. So, what history? What? I mean, it could say that it could have the information of which commands have ran in the past. So it could have a history of commands, and actually it could undo some commands as well. We're gonna see that right now. It's a very, very good thing to actually understand the conductor and actually understand the design pattern. The design pattern is meant to do so much more than just design pattern. The command pattern is meant to do so much more than just encapsulate just commands, because conductor can actually take down which commands have ran, which commands can we undo, and we can actually undo or redo commands depending on which we want. And we're going to just go over some very quick ones right now. So for the conductor, we are going to want a constructor because we want it to run instantly. So constructor. We want a constructor. We don't want nothing inside of the constructor. And we're going to have this dot history. We're going to set that equal to an array. Okay. Nope. And we're going to have this dot undo, since we could pass undone. We could pass in some undones right here as well. So when we undo something, we're going to pass that undo into this array, so we could keep track of which commands we've undone. So for run a command, this is all correct, but we're going to actually push the command inside of the history. So this dot history dot push, and we're going to push in the command. Okay. We're going to create another method called print history, so we can print what commands have you ran. So print history, and we're going to just do this dot history, and we're going to just do a for each. We're going to get a command back, and we're going to do log out command dot name, just like that. Don't need that simple. Well, you can have it if you want, but we're also going to do an undo method where we're going to do we're going to create a variable command. We're going to set this equal to this dot history dot pop. So we're going to get the last one that we've done. So whatever the last command that we've issued, we're going to grab that command and undo that command. And we're going to do command dot undo. And this dot undone dot push. We're going to push the undo command into the undone array. I hope you're understanding what I'm trying to do here. I am going to explain it in a better way once I'm actually done writing all this. So quickly, what I'm doing here is recreated in history an array of histories and an array of which command has been undone. So in the run, when we run, we're going to push the command into the history array. The print history is pretty self-explanatory. We're going to just print the history of what we've done previously. The undo is we're going to pop the last command that we've done, and we're going to undo this, and then we're going to push that command into the undone history. Because remember, we could redo the command if we wanted to, and that's why we have this undone array. So let's actually put this into play, the undone. So inside of command, we are going to have to use the another method from the FS module, which is called unlink, which will help us basically destroy or delete a file. And since we can't undo the exit command, because I mean we exited the application, so we can't undo it. So we can do the create command. So down below, we're gonna do an undo method. Since we did call it over here in our conductor, we do have an undo, remember? So we have to create that right here. And down here is where we're gonna unlink this dot full path. And it does take a callback, which right now we're not gonna worry about it. And we are done. We're actually going to go into the conductor one more time and actually do a redo. Like I said before, we can do a redo and redo. So we're gonna actually have the command, and we're gonna equal this dot undone. We're gonna get it from the undone array, and we're gonna pop the last one that we've undone. So that's gonna be our command, and we're gonna just command dot execute. And we're gonna just push this back to the history. So history dot push command. Okay, and before we do this, I am gonna log out what we've done so far, so that way you know exactly where we're at. So undo, and I'm gonna give it the command dot name. I'm actually going to grab this and do it for the redo as well. And instead of undo, redo. Control save. All right. So before we actually run this command, we do have to do some modifications in here. Since we do have new commands that we can write, so in here I'm just tell them, hey, what commands we can do. So we could do a history. We could do a undo now. Oops. And we could do a redo. Right, and we do need to do some cases for these. So right here, case history. We're going to do conductor. We're going to call the conductor, since conductor has all of these methods, dot history. Print history is not history, so print history, just like that. Break. We're gonna do another case. This is the undo, and it's gonna be conductor dot undo. And we're gonna break. God damn it. And we're gonna do one more, which is the case redo. And we're going to do conductor dot redo. And I'm just noticing that this, when I do it, it does create breaks, which I did not know. Okay, I'm gonna put some spaces between these so that we know where we're at. All right, let's see this in action. Let me clear my terminal. Exit, because we do that now. Because we could do that now. Let me clear it out. All right, node. All right, here we go. So we're going to create one. And I'm going to create a hello .txt, and this is going to be hello world. I'm gonna do another one, create hi.txt, and we're gonna do hi world. I'm gonna do one more, create this.txt, and we're gonna say this world. All right, so we go into our terminal, in our structure, we see that we do have a hello with the hello world, hi world, and this world. Awesome. Now what I'm going to do is print the history. Let's do history. History. Okay, history. Don't judge. Okay, here's our history. We created a hello text and hi text and this text. Great, awesome. Let's do an undo for this. Undo. And we're going to do undo, create this.text. And we go back, we don't see this.text anymore. If we do one more time, undo. We do undo, create hi text. And we don't see hi no more. And we can actually do our history. Let's see what we get for our history. And in our history, we only have one that we've done. Okay, now if we do redo, we do our redo hi text, and we get it back, and we do it one more time, redo. We get our this.text. This, hi, and hello. Pretty amazing stuff, isn't it, guys? It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool once you get used to it. And yeah. So anyways, that is it for this, guys. We're going to go into the pros and cons and where would you or when would you use this. So going to the pros and cons, but first I wanted to kind of summarize what this is all about, right? So the command is actually a behavior design pattern that turns a request into a standalone object that contains all information about the request. This transformation lets you parameterize methods with different requests, delay or queue a request execution, and support undoable operations. Just letting you know that, and I will have that somewhere in the video or in the description. So on to the pros and cons. The pros: reduces coupling the invoker and receiver of a command. Makes our code extensible as we can add new commands without changing existing code. Yeah, that's one. You can implement deferred execution of operations, and you can assemble a set of simple commands into a complex one if you wanted to. The cons: obviously increases the number of classes for each individual command. And the other one, yeah, this might be a big one. The code may become more complicated since you're introducing a whole new layer between senders and receivers. So yeah, just be careful. That's it. Like every other design pattern, just be careful. They're all pretty simple, but you have to be careful when you use them and how you use them. So when would you want to use this? You should use the command pattern when you want to parameterize objects with operations. So as you know that this specific method you could call in a standalone object, right? You could turn a specific method and call it into a standalone object. This change opens up a lot of interesting uses. You can pass commands as method arguments, store them inside of other objects, switch linked commands at runtime. There's a lot more you could do with it. But here's a quick example. You're developing a GUI component such as a context menu, and you want your users to be able to configure menu items that trigger operations when an end user clicks an item. That's a very simple example. So the next, when you would want to use it, is when you want to queue operations, schedule their execution or execute them remotely. As with any other object, a command can be serialized, which means converting it into a string that can be easily written to a file or a database. Later on, the string can be restored as the initial command object. So with this object, you could actually delay and schedule command executions. And you could do so much more with this. in that same way, like we got the command from the database, you can queue, log, or send commands over the network. And that's a pretty interesting use to why you would want to use this command design pattern. All right, guys. Here's another one. Use a command pattern when you want to implement reversible operations, like we've seen before, the undo and redo. Now, there are many ways to implement an undo redo, but the command pattern is perhaps the most popular of all of them. All right. To be able to revert operations, you need to implement the history of performed operations. The method history is a stack that contains all executed command objects along with related backups of the application state. So guys, these are all the reasons why you will want to use it, the pros and cons, and and the actual design pattern itself, the one I explained to you. This video did go longer than I expected, but it was a pretty interesting design pattern to learn, the least. So thank you guys so much for watching, and if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. Leave a thumbs up if you liked the video, leave a thumbs down, and comment down below on where would you want to use this command pattern. So thank you guys so much for watching, and like always guys, thanks for taking time out of your day to watch this video. I really do appreciate it, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.